Hello, English students. Welcome to your English class number 1, advanced level. Okay, open your PowerPoints and go straight to slide number 2. So I sent you some PowerPoints with the subject of this class. We start on slide number 2 where you're gonna find some expressions. So every class we're gonna have something different on slide number 2, like expressions, idioms, differences between American and Brazilian system, and so on. So for you who want to be able to speak fluently, you have to know the idioms. You have to know what they mean, because if you translate them, they're not gonna be taken literally. They're gonna mean something different. So it's very important. Here we start with some, and then we're gonna learn more over the classes, all right? So here we have expressions. The first one is to be in someone's shoe. So what does it mean? What does it mean to be in someone's shoe? Okay, so it means to put yourself in someone else's place. So we have an example. If you put yourself in my shoes, you'd understand what I'm going through. So if you were in my place, if you were me, okay, if you're going through the situation I'm going through, you would understand. So that's the meaning of to be in someone's shoe. The next one is get your act together. Maybe you heard this expression using some different word besides act. But here we're gonna use the regular one, which is act, okay? So get your act together. It means to organize your life or your affairs so that you are able to achieve what you want or to deal with something effectively. Example, I know it is difficult to get over this, but you have to get your act together in order to move on. Next one is without further ado. So this one they usually use when they are going to introduce someone, like in a concert or in a theater. So they say without further ado, which means without waiting any longer. Example, without further ado, let me introduce tonight's speaker. And the next one is first come, first served. So indicates that people will be dealt with in the order in which they arrive or apply. Okay, so it's not like you're gonna have a list with appointments and they're gonna follow that list, or reservations like in restaurant, like first come is the first one who's gonna get the service. So the example we have here is the restaurant doesn't make reservations. It's on first come, first serve basis. So if you don't understand what it means, we're going to talk about it in class and I'll explain to you what it means in Portuguese. So next one, let's go to the next slide, slide number 3. So the subject today is about one of the most important cities in the world, maybe the most. So New York City, this is our first subject. Okay, so New York City, NYC, is a mega city located in the state of New York on the east coast of the United States. It is divided in 5 boroughs: Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx, and Staten Island. Island is the pronunciation, okay, without the S. New York City has been described as the cultural and financial capital of the world. The most upscale neighborhood in New York is Manhattan, where many interest points are located, such as the Times Square, the Central Park, Empire State Building, Broadway, and the Brooklyn Bridge. The New Yorkers are counted for 8.4 million people in the city and 19 million in the metropolitan area. The city is often mentioned as the Big Apple. The origin of this nickname comes from a book from 1909, where the author refers to United States as a tree and New York as an apple, Big Apple, for receiving the government a disproportional share of the income. So they thought the government gave too much money to New York, so they were getting more money than the other cities. So they call, oh, they are the Big Apple. They get more than everybody else. All right, so let's go to slide number 4. We're gonna talk about one of the most important things in New York, one of the most famous. It's the Central Park. So Central Park is an urban park in the New York City located between Upper West and Upper East sides of Manhattan. It is one of the largest parks in the United States. It is the most visited park in the country, with an estimated 38 million visitors annually. And is the most filmed location in the world. I never thought how many movies show the Central Park. That's interesting. When you visit the Central Park, trees and lakes aren't the only things you are going to find there. By the way, the lakes at Central Park are artificial. They are man-made to create an oasis in the middle of the concrete jungle. Inside the park, you find a zoo with over 500 species and a castle. Castle, okay, that's the pronunciation. The park is considered an outdoor art gallery because while walking through the park, you'll be able to see plenty of sculptures and monuments. One of the fun attractions of the park are the outdoor music concerts that happen throughout the summer. And the best thing, they are free. They are free of charge. Next slide number 5. So you probably heard in a movie or somebody making a comment like that New Yorkers don't drive. Like people in New York don't have a car. So here we're gonna find out why. What's the reason? So here it says, if you have ever taken a trip to New York, there are many different things that will catch your eye. However, the amount of people that walk and take public transportation is something that you can't miss. Many of the people that live in New York don't even have their own vehicle, which is something odd for people from other parts of US. Here are some of the reasons that make the New Yorkers choose not to drive. All right, first reason is the traffic jams. Even though a lot of people do not drive their own car to work, this has not helped to lessen the traffic in the city. There is still tons of traffic in all major streets and a lot of delays. In the city area, just correcting something here. The next reason is great public transportation. What a dream, right? If you're in Manhattan or Brooklyn, you can get pretty much anywhere by subway or train. Plus, there are over 6,000 buses in New York, which covers 322 routes. Continue, location. Another reason why a lot of people in New York choose not to drive can be linked to location. In the city, many things are located nearby. This means that you don't have to travel quite as far to get to work or to locate the nearest store. Many things are actually within walking distance. So in New York, they're saying that you can find many things everywhere you are. Like you live where every area there are like plenty of stores and they have transportation and they have everything you need like nearby and you can walk. You don't need to get a car. which happens in lots of American cities. Like in other parts of the country, people sometimes live far from downtown and from where everything is, so they have to drive everywhere. In New York, it's different. In New York, you can find everything everywhere, pretty much because there are many people there, so there's always like people to buy different things in different neighborhoods. Okay, the next one is car issue. A big reason why many people in New York choose not to drive might be attached to their inability to get access to a car. Many people in New York don't even own a car. This might be because they do not have enough money to afford a car due to the high cost of rent in the city. So people usually spend a lot of money to pay their rent, and so they don't have money left to pay for a car. So this might be the case for some people. Of course, New York has many millionaires and billionaires, but like the average people who live in New York, they have to spend a lot of their income just to pay their rent. Parking problems. The lack of people driving might also be a result of the lack of available parking. Finding parking in the city can be a real pain, and it's often easier just to take the public transportation and avoid having to find an open spot or pay for parking. Plus, most houses and buildings in the city don't have a garage. Slide number 7, sightseeing in New York. So slides number 7 and 8 are the last slides with this subject. We're gonna talk about like what a tourist do when they go to New York. So let's see, sightseeing New York. So first one is the Statue of Liberty ferry ride. To see the Statue of Liberty, you don't need necessarily to go on a ferry. You can see it from far distance inland. But for $20, you can go on a ferry to visit the statue, which includes a visitation to the Immigration Museum on the way. So you take the ferry, you go to this museum, and then you go to the Statue of Liberty and then come back for $20. I think it's a good deal. 9/11 Memorial and Museum. So after they created this memorial, so this is something that people usually who go to New York, they usually visit. So for $27, you can visit the memorial and the Museum of 9/11, which is located in downtown Manhattan near the other New York attractions. So you are on the area, so you can just stop by. American Museum of Natural History. New York is famous for its museums, and one of the most famous ones is the Natural Art Museum, which is one of the largest museums in the world. The entrance costs $23. So this is very important in New York too. New York has lots of museums with different subjects. So this one is natural history. It's one of the biggest in the world. It's being on movies and such. So it's a very good place for you to go. Even if you don't like museums, this is different. This is a different kind of museum. Next one is One World Observatory. Located where the old World Trade Center is, it offers great view from of the city. The ticket price is $43. So I put this one here. That's why I didn't put the Empire State Building, because the Empire State Building is also for you to have a view of the city. So if you're gonna go there, you can choose one of them. So I chose this one here to tell you about. Next one, the Brooklyn Bridge. It's a city landmark connecting Manhattan to Brooklyn. It has 6 lanes for cars only. But if you are a walking tourist, you can take photos with the bridge on the background. Broadway. It's a group of 41 theaters located in Midtown Manhattan. If you are in Manhattan, you just can't miss out on watching a play on Broadway, where the best people on the theater industry are, and the tickets are affordable. The prices may range from $20 to $175. So if you're gonna watch a play that is not really famous, like you can pay just $20 and say, I've watched the play in Broadway. So how cool is that? Soho, short for South of Houston Street, it is considered a hipster neighborhood of the city. The architecture itself, it's an attraction. It is a great attraction. There, you'll be able to see many of those buildings with the fire escape letters on the facade. All right, so the next slide, this is slide number 9, the video vocabulary. They have this very interesting video talking about Manhattan. So watch the video, take notes, take a look at the vocabulary, and answer the questions on the homework. There are gonna be questions about this video, all right? Take care. See you. Bye bye.